Have you noticed it lately? That heaviness, not in your body, but somewhere deeper in your chest when you wake up. In the weight of decisions that suddenly feel impossible, in relationships that are shifting, in doors that are closing even though you thought they were meant to stay open. You're not losing your mind. You're not being punished. What you're feeling is often the beginning of something sacred. Allah is repositioning you, and yes, that repositioning feels like everything is breaking down. The heaviness you feel right now, it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of movement. There's a quiet truth that nobody talks about enough in our faith communities. When Allah decides to relocate your life, when He decides that where you are is no longer where you need to be, the process doesn't feel like blessing. It feels like loss. Think about it. A farmer doesn't plant a seed and leave it in the same soil forever. When the plant outgrows that soil, the farmer must uproot it. And in that moment of uprooting, the plant doesn't understand. It experiences shock. It experiences the pain of separation from what was familiar. But the farmer knows something the plant doesn't. That new soil, richer soil, is waiting. You might be in that uprooting season right now. Maybe you're watching a friendship dissolve that you thought would last forever. Maybe you're facing financial instability after years of security. Maybe you're in a job that's becoming unbearable, or a living situation that no longer serves your soul. Maybe you're alone when you thought you wouldn't be. Maybe you're facing health challenges you never expected. The heaviness is real. The confusion is real. But here's what I want you to understand, and I mean this with all sincerity. Allah doesn't remove things from your life to punish you. He removes them because they've served their purpose, or because they were never meant to be permanent, or because they were preventing you from becoming who you're supposed to become. The Quran tells us that with hardship comes ease, not after hardship, with hardship. Because in the very moment that things are being taken away, something is being added. Protection, redirection, a hidden mercy that your eyes can't yet see. When Allah is moving you, certainty leaves first. The things you thought were solid begin to feel fragile. Plans you made with confidence suddenly seem naive. People you trusted show you sides of themselves you never expected. Opportunities you were sure about fall through. And in the middle of all this uncertainty, you're left asking, why is nothing stable anymore? This uncertainty isn't chaos. It's a classroom. When you're certain, you don't seek. When you're comfortable, you don't grow. When everything is predictable, you don't need Allah, or at least that's how it feels. But Allah loves you too much to leave you in a place where you're spiritually asleep. So He shakes the foundations, not to destroy you, but to wake you up. There's a man in the Quran named Ibrahim, a man of such profound faith that he's called the friend of Allah. And do you know what Allah asked of him? To leave his home, to leave his family, to leave everything familiar. Ibrahim didn't know where he was going. He just knew he had to go. And in that journey of uncertainty, his faith became unshakable. Your uncertainty right now might be your call to a deeper faith. It might be Allah saying, I need you to trust me, not because you can see the outcome, but because you know who I am. When Allah is repositioning you, you feel torn. Part of you wants to hold on to what's dying. Part of you senses that something new is coming, but you can't quite see it yet. You're caught between letting go and holding on, between hope and fear, between the life you planned and the life Allah is planning for you. This inner conflict is exhausting. You might feel guilty for wanting to leave a situation that once made you happy. You might feel afraid of becoming someone you don't recognize yet. You might feel torn between loyalty to people and loyalty to your own growth. You might feel like you're betraying yourself by accepting that things are changing. But this tension, this is where transformation lives. A caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly because it decides to. It becomes a butterfly because its body reaches a point where it has no choice but to change. The caterpillar dissolves almost completely inside the chrysalis. It's not a comfortable process. It's not a process where the caterpillar understands what's happening, but it's necessary. When you feel pulled in different directions, you're in your chrysalis. And I know it doesn't feel like transformation. It feels like you're falling apart. But sometimes falling apart is the only way to come together differently. Here's something that might feel strange to admit: you're grieving. Not because something has ended, but because you sense it's ending. You're mourning a friendship that's still technically there, but fundamentally changed. You're mourning a version of yourself that no longer fits. You're mourning a future you thought was guaranteed. This grief is profound and it's real. even though the loss hasn't fully arrived. When Allah is moving you, He often gives you this gift of advance notice. Your heart knows before your mind accepts it. Your spirit senses the shift before the physical world confirms it. And so you grieve, sometimes without even being able to explain to others why you're sad. The Quran speaks of a people who were moved from their homes, and they grieved not because they were being punished, but because they were being prepared for something greater. They had to mourn the old in order to make space for the new. Your grief right now is a sign of respect for what you're releasing. It's not weakness, it's sensitivity. It's the mark of someone whose heart is attuned to the spiritual dimensions of change. When Allah is repositioning you, sometimes He creates space between you and certain people, certain patterns, certain environments. You might feel left out. You might find yourself uninvited from gatherings you used to attend. Friendships might cool. You might feel misunderstood by people who previously understood you perfectly. This isolation can feel like rejection, but it's often protection. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life, not because they're bad people, but because their presence is keeping you stuck. Sometimes He creates distance because you need to hear His voice more clearly than you can hear it in the noise of familiar company. Sometimes He isolates you because the next chapter of your life requires a version of you that you can only become alone with Him. Think of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Before he received revelation, he would spend nights alone in the cave of Hira, isolated from the familiar rhythms of Mecca. In that isolation, Allah spoke to him in a way that would change the course of human history. He wasn't being punished, he was being prepared. The people being removed from your circle, some of them will return transformed. Some of them needed to go. But all of it is Allah creating the space you need to become who you're meant to be. Here's what I need you to truly understand. And I want you to sit with this for a moment. Everything that's happening right now, the heaviness, the uncertainty, the pulling, the grieving, the isolation, all of it is happening because Allah sees something in you that you don't yet see in yourself. He sees your capacity. He sees your strength. He sees the person you're becoming. And the life you're in right now, it's too small for that person. It's serving the version of you that was necessary for the last chapter, but it won't contain the version of you that's being born. Allah doesn't remove blessings to harm you. He removes what's familiar to make room for what's greater. There's a verse in the Quran that says, and it may be that you hate a thing and it is good for you, and it may be that you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows, while you know, you might hate what's happening right now. You might genuinely wish you could go back to how things were, but Allah knows something about this season of heaviness that your heart hasn't yet learned. He knows that on the other side of this repositioning is a life more aligned with your purpose, a peace more rooted in truth, a version of you that is more fully yourself. First, stop fighting the heaviness. The moment you accept that something is shifting, the exhaustion of resistance begins to lift. You don't have to understand the why. You don't have to have a timeline. You just have to trust that the one who created you, who knows every hair on your head, who has kept you alive through every hardship you've already survived, He hasn't abandoned you now. Second, grieve consciously. Don't suppress the sadness. Don't pretend everything is fine. Sit with the loss. Write about it. Talk about it. Pray about it. Your grief is valid, and it's part of the process of letting go. Third, stay connected to Allah in a deeper way during this season. This is not the time to drift from your faith. This is the time to anchor yourself to it. Pray with intention. Read Quran with presence. Make dua that's specific and heartfelt. Ask Allah to guide you, to protect you, and to show you the wisdom in what you're experiencing. Fourth, be gentle with yourself. You're not falling apart, you're being reorganized. You're not losing your mind. You're expanding your understanding of what matters. You're not failing. You're being repositioned for success. This process deserves kindness. And fifth, remember that you are not alone in this. Millions of people have walked through seasons of heaviness and emerged into seasons of unexpected peace and purpose. You're in good company. The prophets knew this heaviness. The great souls throughout history knew this heaviness. And they emerged not unscathed, but transformed. What if everything that's being taken from you right now is being taken because Allah has already seen your future and He's clearing the path for you to reach it? What if the relationship that's ending needed to end so you could meet someone who truly honors your soul? What if the job that's becoming unbearable is being removed so you can step into work that feeds your spirit? What if the life that feels like it's falling apart is actually being rebuilt with better foundation? What if Allah is so committed to your growth that He's willing to make you uncomfortable in order to make you free? This is not the language of punishment. This is the language of a creator who loves you so much that He won't let you stay small.